Good morning. It's the 23rd of September. Bob Marshall Wilderness. I'm up on a pass right now. You're not going to be able to see this, not on the video, but I'm going to turn so you can look to the east. Maybe some of that comes through. Yeah, if I put myself in the darkness, you can see some of what I'm seeing in the colors that I'm seeing it. I came up here for the dawn. Sometimes when you're hiking, what you need to do is get up at 4:30 and go meet the early morning light. My thoughts today are on illumination. Greeting the new day with the sun's illumination, bringing light and warmth to our world. I came up here for a special place. This is the pass, and in the background there, what's called the Chinese Wall. Chinese Wall has an eastward facing slope, so I wanted to be up here to see what it looks like when it catches the first rays of the sunlight. So I'll be walking through that. Two other thoughts on illumination. I'm now going to turn to the west and maybe, oh yes, maybe just a little bit you can see. There we go. There we go. The moon. A day or two past the full. When you're out backpacking like this, you're very attuned to the weather. You're very attuned to nature. You're very attuned to things like the phases of the moon. Last night, I had an interest. Oh, isn't that just great? Let me see if I can. Oh, isn't that great? I had an interesting experience several times. Same thing. The full moon through my dark camouflage brown tent. Maybe some of you are familiar with seeing photographs of it. Through my closed eyelids, I could sense the changing illumination of the moon, the moonlight, through the tent, through my closed eyelids. And it would fluctuate between very bright and much dimmer. And I wasn't sure what it was. I'm still not sure what it was. If it was the moon passing through an area where it was obscured by a branch, but it happened pretty quickly over the period of just several seconds, let's say. Or maybe there was a cloud that just passed in front of it. But I found that so fascinating that little light I could sense through my closed eyelids. The last thought on illumination is man-made illumination. I had to take off, when it was dark, except for the moon. My headlamp here decided it was just out of battery at about the time I was ready to take off. So I was like in a no-go situation. Well, I have two backup batteries. I almost never use this secondary one. It's just sort of like for emergencies. And so I was able to connect this battery to my headlamp and through sort of a goofy jury-rigged situation, have the cord go right up my nose to the headlamp, and I would keep the backup battery right here next to my phone. That man-made illumination it's looking great here by the wall. That man-made illumination, it would have been a no-go. I wouldn't have been able to be up here now. And the moon is now bright, about ready to be covered over by a Pink cloud. Okay, this is kind of rambling. I want to take some still photos and maybe some other shots here of the wall as I get closer to it. Maybe it's been a while since you've gone out somewhere and greeted the dawn, local park, seashore, wherever you live, little promontory. It's usually worth the effort. It usually is. These are the things that you remember. Passing a milestone here. 200 miles to go. 2. We are fast approaching a day in which there will be a big snowstorm in Glacier Park and stop traffic through the backcountry. We're approaching a day in which they will stop issuing backcountry permits. I don't know what day that will be, but I do know today is one day closer than yesterday to those 2 dates. So I'm now at a crossroads and at a decision point. Many, perhaps most of the CDT thru hikers have come to this point and are going to head down that trail. And it is called, let's see if I can get it in there, the Spotted Bear Alternate. What is attractive about this alternate? Well, it shaves off 2/3, 3/4 of a day, and it's quite flat. I'm not going to take it. I'm going, let me get out of the sun here. I'm going that way on the red route. Why am I doing that? This part of the red route, at least, is known as being quite scenic. And so I'm going to trust to that. Trust to the likelihood that I won't get wintered out when I hit Glacier because of this decision I'm making right here. There is a place up ahead where there's a crossover. And I ran into a horseman yesterday who used to work for the Forest Service when they were laying out this area of the CDT, pre-GPS time, and they did not include that high route crossover near Switchback Pass because they were afraid hikers would get lost doing that. Because the northern part of the Spotted Bear Alternate is actually better in terms of views than the northern, say, third of the red route. So I think I'm going to do the switch over there. It doesn't really save me much in the way of mileage, and it's going to add, an extra 1,000-foot climb over that pass and its descent. But I'm going to trust, and I'm going to gather ye rosebuds while ye may, These are great days, and the views here on the red route are supposed to be equal to, maybe even better than the Chinese Wall. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Going to have to pound out some miles later on in order to make up for this decision, but okay. Okay. Starting to set up the tent here by headlamp. More illumination. Hiked 13.5 hours today. Got to there's another elk. There's an elk just as I arrived at the campsite. It's about 200 yards away, so I'm pretty clearly bugling. Okay, got another site, another viewpoint, first thing tomorrow morning. Another highlight of the Bob. I'll show it to you tomorrow morning. First, I got to get the tent set up.